اهلا انا شو here بزنيلم بزنيلنا.
On this episode of M.I.A. Paranormals, we believe you.
Most haunted, does get that claim, most haunted town in Canada.
Here we are at Fort George.
Many of those soldiers are buried where they fell, so even today. We have the most ghosts per capita claim to fame here.
Good. If you're in this room with us, speak through this box. Life after death. Does it
When
exist?
he opened his mouth, human voice did not escape, but instead was the screaming of 1,000 tortured souls.
Holy fuck, what was that? M.I.A. wants the answer to life's biggest riddle. Where did we come from, and where do we go when we die?
Do you want us to ask Michelle a question, or is there another person you want us to ask?
Having that over there. Are you agreeing? Earlier this, I think, an hour ago.
Wow.
Yeah.
We were doing a investigation here the last time. We were up in the catwalk with the two.
The Academy Theatre. Exploring some of the oldest, most historic buildings in Canada. M.I.A. is seeking evidence because we believe you. On this investigation, M.I.A. headed to the Niagara, Ontario region to visit Fort George, the headquarters of British and Allied soldiers during the War of 1812. The fort was operational from 1802 to 1820. It was left in ruins until it was reconstructed in the 1930s. Short on team members, Michelle, Beth, and myself take the long drive to Niagara, which was probably worse for them than it was for me. How long have we been driving? 2-3 hours.
Yeah, about 3 hours.
We're almost at Niagara. And look, we got GPS this time. Woo! Stepping up, moving up in the world.
Here we are at Fort George, most famous for the war in 1812 between the British and Americans.
We are warmly greeted at the gate by Kyle and Heather, ghost tour guides for Fort George, who kindly show us through the fort and give us a rundown on the history and the legends and stories.
Here, mainly we put down to the fact that we had a bit of a war here relatively recently, War of 1812. So 2.5 years of conflict between the United States of America, which you can see through the trees, just maybe not right here, and New York State is literally a cannonball's toss away. The town as well as the fort were shelled fairly regularly during the 2.5 years of that conflict. Defenders, the day did not go comfortably for them, with some of those units taking 60 and in some cases 70% casualties. They were marching off the field, leaving far more boys down and bleeding. Many of those soldiers are buried where they fell. So even today, 2 centuries later, the far side of the town of Niagara Lake is scattered with unmarked soldiers' graves. Did they find a lot of stuff and like artifacts and remains and stuff? Very little in the way of archaeology has been done. The golf course is the longest operating golf course in Canada, so a big part of the battlefield is
the golf course.
No, you can't dig up remains.
Yeah.
And then the other part of the another part of the battlefield, one of the oldest subdivisions here in Niagara on the Lake, and then what is still a military firing range. So limited in the way of archaeology that has been done on the battlefield area.
With so many brave men dying suddenly and not being buried properly, it's no surprise that the area sees so much paranormal activity.
But if you need hatred, if you need terror, if you need suffering and pain and death for there to be ghosts, why I hope you get a sense of, why we get that claim.
Yeah, there'd be a lot of unrested souls and
other theories That's, if you go the ley line approach, that we've got significant ley lines sort of crisscrossing through the Niagara Peninsula. If you go to the water, echoes the psychic energy, well, we're on
the water.
So we're surrounded by water on three sides. So there certainly are a series of different theories as to
why
makes Niagara on the Lakes, or this area of Ontario, significant from a spiritual, paranormal, supernatural, depending upon what label you want to put on it.
Yeah.
So
cool. With all the factors Kyle just told us, it seems like Fort George and Niagara could be the perfect storm of paranormal activity. We begin our investigation at the lower ranked soldiers' quarter. With a wedding happening just down the hill and music blaring, also a storm thundering overhead, we decided to focus more on the ghost box and less on audio recordings.
We did Fort Erie, sure. Fort Erie.
Yes,
That's for sure.
a little more open at Fort George. And this building, 1994, we never had any problems finding stories about this place. As far as I'm concerned, this is the most haunted building here at Fort George.
As the team's still setting up and before I can even press record on my recorder, we start picking up voices through the ghost box. At first writing them off as just radio interference, upon reviewing them they seem to be more relevant than we thought they were. Also the voices lasting longer than the sweeps of the radio stations that's being scanned. A voice comes through which I believe is saying, dying for me or dying for sleep. Also, while it says dying, another voice comes through saying dying at the same time. After receiving no voices for nearly half a minute, we received this amazing communication. Is this a communication echoing from the past through our ghost box between a father and his daughter as he tucks her in for bed? Or is it taking place in another dimension overlapping our own in some kind of spiritual world? These are the questions I want to find out, but unfortunately I wasn't paying attention as I was still setting up. We're M.I.A. Paranormal, and we're looking for evidence of life after death. We heard that there's a ghost here named Urban. We'd like to talk to him. We know that's not your real name. Maybe you could tell us your real name. If you could maybe try to talk through this box on the table here, we could hear you. Could the spirit be referring to the changes made during the reconstruction of the fort in the 1930s? If you're in this room with us, speak through this box right now. Is that you or the radio? If you know what a radio is. We don't mean you any harm. We're just here to get information and see what happens.
Okay.
Caller?
Who are we speaking to?
I'm going to make this quieter so you can hear me, and then I'll open it up after I ask the question. I'd like you to make the response come right through as soon as I open it. Who's here with us?
That was through there.
Is it Victor? Yeah? How old are you, Victor? 5? 5? 5?
Can you say your name again?
What is your name, soldier? I said speak up. What is your name? Sound like a football. Sound like a football. Sound like a football.
What was that?
That was a long time.
I don't know what that is.
Do you want to play it back, maybe?
Yeah. Turn that off for a second.
We wrap it up in the barracks and make our way through the pouring rain to a tunnel at the back of the fort, which moves underground to a watchtower outside of the fort. We try making communication using the spirit box and a motion sensor light, but unfortunately we don't receive any communications. And just like Kyle said at the beginning of the investigation,
I wish I could guarantee that you'd see something here tonight.
Oh, yeah.
But unfortunately, it just doesn't work that way.
Yeah, you can't really
I
guarantee
don't have a big red button that I can press. I wish I did. But in the same breath, when they choose to attend, I have no big red button that I can press
to make them go away.
And
with no luck in the tunnel, we brave the harsh weather once again and head over to the officers' quarters, where there's claims of a ghostly mirror that shows a figure of a woman in it. Also, a cat that would disappear and appear randomly. I'd really appreciate it if you could speak through this black box on the table. You could give us your name, you could say hello, whatever you like.
Are you able to close the door again? Do you enjoy your time here?
your favorite song to play on piano? Did you have a cat? Did you have a dog?
What's so special about that mirror?
Who is the woman who appears in the mirror? Your wife? What was your wife's name?
Officer, what is your name?
Sadly, our time at the fort runs out and the investigation has to come to an end. We wish we could stay longer and explore the mysteries and historic depths of the fort. But unfortunately, with the weather working against us and our lack of equipment working against us, we're glad just to head home and finally do that.
My eyes and I couldn't see.
So we got rained out at Fort George. This is what we're dealing with. You'd think a storm would help. Maybe it did, but we'll see when we review the evidence. But we should come back another time. With a whole better equipment. With only a couple personal experiences and some ghost box voices coming through, we hope these can add a little bit of clues to the mystery that surrounds Fort George and give some answers as to the mysteries of what's happening there. Fort George is a great place to visit, if not for the paranormal activity, then for the history and the natural beauty of the fort itself and the surrounding areas. We hope to go back there one day and do a second follow-up investigation with more equipment, more people, and see if we can find more answers to the mysteries surrounding this beautiful historic fort.